The Estevan Bruins Junior A Hockey Club started in 1957, and 54 years later, it is still one of the SJHL's premier organizations. Without the help of volunteers, the Estevan Bruins would not be able to operate and flourish as the club is today. In 2008, the Estevan Bruins Alumni Association decided to honor individual volunteers by recognizing them as Bruins Builders. Here are your 2012 Bruins Builders inductees. Gord Tunnell. Gord started his volunteer position for the Estevan Bruins during the inaugural 1957 season. He was a fixture in the penalty box, not because he was a goon, but as the scorekeeper. He also spent time as the team's vice president.
With them for 25 years, counting every game that I was at. But it was way more than that too, because exhibition, practice, and everything else. And I certainly am proud of what you guys have done here. The biggest is trying to keep Scotty Monroe happy. It was not easy. He'd come out and walk across and go behind the thing. Then he'd come out and say, "Did you let that guy off too early?" Their opposition. And he said, "Well, ours was too fast." And I said, "I do it the best I can. And I'm telling you that there's nothing wrong with letting him out." "Well," he said, "I know that, but we got to make some noise," he said. So
Dave Matchit. Dave was instrumental in keeping the Bruins afloat. In 1969, he started as the team's bookkeeper and continued that job for more than 30 years. Dave also held a position on the team's executive.
Actually, Scotty Monroe got me involved back in 1958, shortly after I moved down here. So needed some help with the bookkeeping, and I guess I was appointed. You know, I got lots of them, but I think the big thing that stands in my mind is the association with all those young people. We had quite a few of them stay at our house over the years, and they've contacted us since, and a lot of the former players have contacted us and at least stopped to say hello, and all doing well.
Gary McKee. Gary had 2 stints as the head coach of the Estevan Bruins. He also holds the record for the longest tenure as head coach at 8 years.
When we started, Ernie McLean had moved out of here in the spring of '71. And of course, they had no thoughts of having a junior club in town. And about, if I remember it right, it was about 3 weeks to go, Ray Frederick decided we should have a junior club. So it was going to be between Phil Dupe and I. You know, Ray would be had one against the other, and I got the chance to coach. But we did have a pretty good start because we had a good junior B club in here. Like we had Murray Fleck and the Drader boys and Dougie Allen, and so we had a fair start through many of them. But I think kind of my observations, I came in here and I'd read the books and I thought I had the coaching down. But I think over the 8 years, I learned more from the boys than I learned from them.
Dr. Yusri Wobba. More commonly known as Doc, he was the Bruins team doctor for 26 years. He spent many hours ensuring the players were fixed up before, during, and after games. Dr. Doug Blue honors his late friend, Dr. Wobba.
Well, Doc Yusri Wobba, he was kind of affectionately known to us all as Doc. He was the team physician for over a quarter of a century. That's a pretty long time. And in game night, you could always find him. He was the one shirt and tie, kind of in a sea of denim, sitting over in his seat in Section C, right across from the Bruin bench. A really good view of what's going on the ice from that point, and also he had a pretty good idea of what the health was of his players over on the other side. And when you saw a player limp off the ice over to the bench and then disappear with the trainer off into the dressing room and then hear the announcement on the PA system, "Dr. Wobba, to the Bruin dressing room, please." And it was always a great source of comfort to all of us, the players, the team, the fans, that we'd see Doc get up out of his seat and scurry on down to the dressing room. We always knew that that young man was in good hands whenever you walked down. And if he were here today, I think I know what you'd probably be hearing something like this. Bloody hell, you've got this all wrong. I don't know why you're honoring me. You should be honoring this team for what they've done for me and this community.
Rod Fagerheim. Rod did it all for the Bruins. He was once a stick boy, player, assistant coach, head coach, and now an instrumental component in getting the Alumni Association up and running.
Mine goes back a long ways. I can remember being in the dressing room when there was guys, when Scotty Monroe and Ernie McLean were running the team. I was a stick boy for about 4 or 5 years, and I remember names like Red Willie and Ernie Dieta, John Rogers. So I guess it was ingrained in me as a rink rat at the time too. So, and then did play 4 games with the Bruins when I was 15 years old. Then started moving around. I went to North Battleford, which is an affiliate of Estevan, and then when I was 18, played under Gary McKee in the initial year of the Tier 2 Bruins at Estevan after Scotty had moved his team to New Westminster. And from there I went to New Westminster and then came back mucking around. At about 25, I was asked to help out with the Bruins, and I worked with Gary as an assistant coach and stats keeper and a guy who jumped out of the press box and did a lot of damage to myself, not only the people below me. But then, much to my chagrin, they asked me to replace Gary. I coached for a couple of years, and that was the end of my hockey career.
I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that has helped out with the Estevan Bruin Alumni Association, to those that played in the game today and have been a part of building this to a bigger, stronger Alumni Association. And once again, congratulations to those inductees today.